Welcome to the Pinch to Zoom podcast. I'm Stetson.
And I'm Gabe.
And this is our bonus episode. We're covering all of our favorite tech products and highlights from the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Gabe, I think this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a thrown together. We're going to just make our way through a ton of products that we like that are just part of all the, just massive amount of products that we've seen released this week and ones that we've seen teased. A lot of these products will never actually make it to shelves, make it to, I guess, maybe not many stores are selling things, so not to shelves, but make it to people's hands. So we're not going to have prices for a lot of these things. There's not going to be release dates, but for some of them there are going to be. So yeah.
It's a mixed bag. I think for a lot of products, they are concepts. They're companies showing the possibilities, the future that they're imagining, and the technology they have and what they're capable of doing. But yeah, like you mentioned, not a whole lot of these products are going to be coming out. And as you said, there's a lot to cover. So there were over 175 people attending last year's conference with over 4,500 exhibiting companies.
Did you mean 175,000?
Yeah, 175,000. Did I say something different?
You said 175.
Oh, wow, that'd be really small. Could you imagine all this space?
I was like, gosh, I hope there was more than that.
175,000 people, 4,500 exhibiting companies, and over 1,000 speakers. So there's a lot that happens at CES, and there's a lot to cover, and we're going to be going over our highlights. And I think we actually did a pretty good job breaking these down. So we have phones, drones, cameras, smart homes, TVs, laptops, and possibly some audio gear.
Yeah, drop the beat. It's like phones, drones, cameras, smart homes. We need another thing that would rhyme with
something like that.
Oh, well. I'll be putting up actually a list or kind of like, with links and photos on my website. And then I'll have a link in somewhere in the description of this podcast because it is a ton of stuff to go through. So if you want to go check out anything that we mentioned in the podcast, as well as some other stuff that might have got released, on Wednesday after this comes out, then yeah, go to the through that link. And also I probably will use some affiliate links there. So we might actually make our first money on this podcast.
That is mind-shattering. Whoa,
what is this? No, that probably won't
actually,
ever
if I check my Salt Lamp affiliate links, you guys have actually been just blowing them up. So
thank you for that. The Salt Lamp market is just on fire right now.
No, it's
I don't think we saw any of those released at CES. We did see the Impossible Burger or Impossible Foods release their pork, I guess, fake pork meat that they have come up with. So that's not even really a tech thing, but that was released at CES. So
I think food is a science. Science is similar to technology; they go hand in hand. So I can kind of see it.
Or mouth and mouth.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, as far as the Impossible Pork, just the TLDR on that is it will be coming out probably sometime this year as far as availability, and they're going to be trialing it at Burger King's because that's actually where they're selling the Impossible Whopper right now. And they're doing some kind of like Impossible Pork croissant thing. I'm not really sure. Google it. But yeah, that I figured we'd just include a little snippet there to give you a little taste of that before we actually get into the real tech stuff. So what's up first, Stetson? Is it phones?
Yeah, I think we should dive into phones. We have some quick news.
This is your category. So
yeah, should we do any of the quick news items we have here?
No quick news. This is all quick news.
All right.
So.
All
just
CES.
Go right into phones.
First phone, we had OnePlus. Gabe, you're familiar with OnePlus. How would you describe them to a listener? Like, what is OnePlus?
Really, they started off as very much a budget company. I think you'd agree, right?
Yeah. So I think that's a great way of phrasing it. They started out as the flagship killer. That was their motto.
Yeah, it was really well-made premium phones, but priced at prices where you would be like, wow, that is a crazy steal.
I want to say like possibly $300, $400 way back when. But
OnePlus, weren't they actually originally Kickstarted?
That could be
first phone,
but they're owned by a parent company, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but either way, now they have become known for actually, their prices have slowly gone up, and their phones still are very premium, but they just have prices that you'd expect with I guess a little lower, but about prices what you expect with a premium smartphone today.
They're encroaching on flagship territory, and their devices are definitely worthy of flagship specs. They're delivering high refresh rate displays, under-the-glass fingerprint readers, pop-up cameras, basically all the bleeding edge tech in phones. At CES, they debuted their Concept One phone. This was made in partnership with McLaren because this phone actually has hidden cameras. And what this is basically glass that can change opacity to hide the cameras. And I mean, this sounds really silly on the surface level. Basically, it kind of looks like some kind of aesthetic gimmick. But really, what to me is cool is this could potentially work as an ND filter for your phone. And that means it's just going to block out extra light, help you get potentially longer exposures in bright daylight scenarios, and do some other creative things.
But
So
would you be able to take it off? Like,
you can't. Well, so there's a setting in the phone. So this is actually software
okay,
enabled.
I get it. So it's electronic that you can turn this on and off.
Yep, that's correct. So in the camera app, there's actually, I think it's equivalent to an ND8 filter, but you go into pro mode and there's a setting where you can enable it, and the glass will tilt its opacity and shift to its darker shade, which actually blocks out light about equivalent to an ND8 filter. And then you can either decrease the exposure of your images or do your creative shot. And it actually switches really fast.
Or just use it to hide the cameras though too.
Yeah, for aesthetic purposes or whatever. I mean, that wasn't super. You don't
really love that.
No, I think it's silly. I mean, the other big thing is that there's no camera bump. Like, I miss the days when we didn't have camera bumps, right? Now all of my phones rock
There was
and
a
rattle.
day. What do you mean? Phones have to have camera bumps.
No,
right?
Go back like iPhone SE and earlier. Like, those were the days.
Yeah, I remember when they first released the first phone the iPhone that had the camera bump, and people were just memeing all day about how it was like you'd put it down and it would bump, and be off, like not perfectly flush with the table. But yeah, you're right. We totally have gotten used to it, and most people do often have a case on their phone. So
I guess it's not really a huge problem.
Doesn't really affect it then.
So this is called electrochromatic glass, and basically it changes its transparency when electricity is flowed through it. So that's how that works.
Wow, that's really cool.
It's neat, and again, I think it's most useful as an ND filter. Pretty silly.
This is a concept phone anyway.
Concept, not coming out, no price, no release date. We may see it.
Who knows how they'll eventually employ this technology, but cool.
I guess some quick updates on the Galaxy S10 Lite and Note 10 Lite. These were on display at CES. Reviewers got hands-on, and basically they're weird phones. I actually was looking into this, and the phones are the same design as a previously released Galaxy A51 phone from Samsung. And really what Samsung is doing is people, like, they don't want to buy the Galaxy A51. Like, that's just not a sexy name. They know the Galaxy S10 brand, that line of phones, is typically associated with being more premium. So all Samsung is doing is rebranding some of their lower end phones and basically trying to target a budget-minded consumer. So
that's very sneaky.
That's what's going on there. And then lastly, in the phone world, 3 phones stood out to me. TCL, known for making their TVs, they actually released three phones. Well, announced. Announced is the better word.
Yeah.
They announced the 10 Pro, the 10L, and the 10 5G. And to give you a quick summary here, the 10 Pro, as you'd imagine, professional phone. It's got that teardrop notch, variable refresh rate display. We don't know if it's either 90 or 120 hertz, but should be smooth. Apparently, it can turn SDR content into HDR content while you're viewing it. It's got an in-screen fingerprint reader, 4 cameras on the back, and a headphone jack. And then the 10L and 10 5G are basically the same phone. I think one just has 5G. 4 cameras on the back again. The fingerprint sensor is on the back, and these should be coming in under $500. And that's big because this will be the first phone that's 5G that's under $500.
Okay, so that's, I mean, that would be able to put it in a lot more people's hands potentially, which makes it a bigger incentive for cellular companies to actually, get out there in the field and put some more towers up that have 5G capabilities. I
was hearing from The Verge, TCL actually has great relationships with carriers. So if you walk into a Verizon store, you'll likely see these phones on display. And again, at that sub $500 price point, they could be great options for a lot of people looking for more budget phones.
And I think you said earlier, TCL is mainly known for TVs, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So these have really, I know you said the SDR to HDR, technology, and then the variable refresh rate. Like they're employing a lot of good screen tech from the TVs in these phones. And it actually, personally, for me, that makes a lot of sense because I spend more time staring at my phone than I do at any TV or larger screen.
And yeah, you watch your YouTube videos vertically.
I will not vertically. I watch it with my phone vertically so that they're horizontally at the top, only taking up about what's that, like 2 inches by like an inch and a half. Because it just, for me, it's too much commitment to turn it sideways or to hit the thing to full screen it. Like, gosh, I feel like I've just like signed away my life to watch this video. I don't want to do that.
You're one of those people. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I took away for phones. I thought I was excited about those phones. Gabe, let's move on to drones because you were hyped last episode about the new drones coming out. What did we see at CES and what is there to be excited about?
Well, we pretty much saw kind of what we've expected. We actually haven't seen anything from X Dynamics yet. They haven't officially announced the X Dynamics Evolve 2. That's the one that's going to be around the $2,500 to $3,000 mark, kind of the Phantom 5 drone we never got. And that'll probably be announced either tomorrow or the day after. But yeah, we basically know everything about that. They've put sneak peeks on their Instagram for the past 2 weeks or so. But the drone we did actually see, even though we'd heard everything about it as well, but we officially got it, is the Autel EVO 2 drone.
And Gabe, what is special about this? I was reading up on it. I was super excited looking through these specs, seeing everything confirmed what you had mentioned last time. I mean, it looked like we actually got 8K from them and a couple different models too, right? So what's going on there? What did they actually announce?
So yeah, essentially there's one drone. They're calling it like the EVO Series 2 drone, but it can come with 3 different varieties of cameras. And the really good thing is, unlike the Mavic 2, which, if you want the zoom or the Pro and then you want to switch, you have to send it back to DJI. They swap out the gimbal and camera module stuff, and then, then you have the zoom or then you have the Pro. With the Autel EVO 2, if you want to switch from one to the other, you just simply order that different camera/gimbal module, take it, swap it out yourself, and you're good to go. So you could go from, for example, they're offering a 6K version that has a 1-inch sensor. You could, start with that, for example. But if you needed some super high resolution for photography, you could go with the 8K camera that has 48 megapixel stills.
That's just absolutely nuts. I mean, I feel like they're putting the smartphone cameras in drones right now. Like the megapixel.
That's essentially what they're doing. Yes.
The megapixel count just exploded recently, and it'll be cool to see that in the air. Which one do you have your eyes on? Like, which one would you purchase of the ones? Well, wait,
I didn't actually mention the third version. The third version is the thermal version that has the 8K sensor as well as a thermal camera, which it overlays. So that's intended for search and rescue stuff. So I guess not really applicable to most people, but it's still cool that they're, releasing that.
Right, taking that consumer into their mindset, kind of competing with the Mavic 2 Enterprise. Yeah,
exactly. The one that I'd probably go with, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some initial tests out there. The 8K one looks really awesome, and it sounds awesome, 8K footage, but I'm a little skeptical of the fact that it's a 1/2-inch sensor, that it's 8K video footage. I mean, the file size is just going to be huge. Personally, I've really loved the experience with the Mavic 2 Pro that also has a 1-inch sensor. So I would kind of lean towards the 6K version, which has a 1-inch sensor, because even though it's not as high resolution, you're actually getting better quality possibly and better low light capabilities.
I think I agree with that. And the 6K sensor has the variable aperture as well, so you can adjust it. It's better for video, getting that 1/60th of a second locked in shutter speed. And I think it's in the name too. That one's called the EVO 2 Pro, whereas the other ones are basically the EVO 2 and the EVO 2 Dual for the 8K and the 8K plus the thermal sensor. So yeah. Still super exciting though.
Yeah, it's very exciting. The only thing we really don't know about this, unfortunately, is we don't know when we're going to see it and also what the price is going to be. And that's the key thing for me as deciding which one I'd get. I'm assuming they're going to put the 6K version at the most expensive. Well, probably the thermal version will be the most expensive because that's intended for, your industry and possibly your search and rescue people, which are more businesses. Then they'll probably have the 6K version below that. I'm going to guess that will be probably 1,700, 1,600 or so. And then the 8K version, I'm guessing, will come in around 1,400 possibly.
Yeah,
but those are just literally, I'm just spitballing figures off the top of my head right now.
It's really too bad we don't know the full details. I mean, I would love to know when it's coming out and the price point, but we're just still playing that waiting game, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they could be doing a bit of cat and mouse with DJI of when they might release their Mavic 3 and then, announce the prices after DJI does. It's hard to tell, but this does actually give us a good idea of what we might see in DJI's upcoming drone, because the new the EVO 2 has like a 35-minute flight time advertised, a 9-kilometer range, which is all above what the Mavic 2 has. So, it kind of shows you what is out there in the drone world. And just I want to circle back to, you mentioned how we're seeing this explosion in resolution that's being offered on these, both in phones and also in, for video on drones. And the thing that's enabling that, surprisingly, in drones isn't the actual advancement in sensors, because we've pretty much always had, to do 8K footage, you don't need that super high res. Like, we've had 50 megapixel sensors for a while. But what it really is having the processing power to be able to process, 30 frames a second of 8K footage and not have your drone either overheat, like chew through a battery just like Snap, or not just buffer like frames instantly.
Right, that's a great point. And, I hope it does improve, but also really the sensor size is what's most important to me right now. And I think the 1-inch sensor will likely actually be sharper than the 8K sensor. That's my hunch right now, but we'll have to, of course, wait and see. One product we actually did see come out was the Insta360 ONE R, right?
Yeah, this is a good segue, because this is the one that was teased with them putting a drone and a action camera and a 1-inch sensor camera in a blender. So a lot of people actually thought it was going to be, they were jumping into the drone market. And unfortunately, or possibly fortunately, that's not what we got. We didn't get a drone here.
Gabe,
so.
What did we see from the Insta360 ONE R? What happened? What was the blender concoction? We didn't see the actual blender, right? Because that's something.
No, they didn't. They didn't release a blender. That was, I was kind of thinking that would be a kind of cool thing, a blender with a camera in it, like.
Yeah, sure. What did they actually? What's the hype? Because this camera looked awesome to me.
It really does. Of all the things that we saw released at CES, probably this would be the thing that I'm most excited for. It's basically a shape-shifting camera. Like,
whoa,
not
Gabe,
that like.
What does that mean? A shape-shifting camera? Like,
okay, I think I hyped it up too much. Okay, think of Lego. You know Legos, how Legos work, all right?
I know.
Think of an action camera and a 360 camera. Like, they had a baby with Legos, and boom, this is what that is essentially.
Wow.
Because you get 3 variants with it, but you can easily swap, like kind of the Autel EVO 2. You can easily swap in between which versions you want. So, for example, they have at $299, they're starting with a regular 4K action camera. That's kind of like your GoPro 8, kind of like your DJI Osmo Action, but it's $100 less, and it has very comparable specs. So that, GoPro better watch their back a little bit there. But then if you get bored with that, you can be like, hold on a second, maybe I want a 360 camera. And so instead of going out and buying a whole new thing, you could just go with the Twin Bundle Edition, which is basically they include both that 4K action camera module, and then they also include a module that you can swap out that has dual lenses and just plops in there, and boom, then you got a 360 action camera.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really brilliant design. And I guess to clarify, basically think of the DJI Osmo Action, and you just cut that in half. So one half is the camera, one half is the display, and what you're swapping out is the camera unit. And Gabe, as you mentioned, you get...
Well, you got to cut it into 3, actually, because then you also, at the base, you have the battery.
Right, okay, that's a good point. So you have the battery that links the 2 parts together.
Yep.
You've got one square that's your screen, and then you've got one cube, I guess is really the better term, that is your camera unit. And you can swap out the camera units, and you can flip the screen around, so you can either have
this was like the ultimate, like, blow to both DJI and GoPro, because they've been DJI came out with this Osmo Action that has a front-facing screen, and GoPro was like, oh, we don't really need that. I think people are fine, or we'll just do this module that flips up that you can add as an accessory. And now Insta360 is like, hold on, guys, we can just do this, and you can flip it around. Like, boom, it's the best
brilliant.
of both worlds.
It's so clever. And then you don't have to buy a whole new unit. Like, you just keep the same unit, and you upgrade your lenses as you go.
Yep.
It seems awesome.
And then the other one, so we got the 4K action cam, we got the 360 camera. Then the big thing is that 1-inch sensor action cam, which you can also add.
Whoa.
Yeah, it costs an additional, I think, $299 though, the module, so it's fairly expensive. If you buy it just as a standalone action camera, it's $549. But this thing is the first action camera to shoot over 4K, because it actually shoots 5.3K. Which is not that much over, I guess, but still, that's incredible, and it's a 1-inch sensor.
I think that's going to be really beautiful. I mean, the 1-inch sensor, like you mentioned on the Mavic 2 Pro, that has captured really outstanding footage. If this comes anywhere close to that and can be stabilized and just everything this camera is offering, I think it's going to be great. And Gabe, I would imagine with interchangeable Lego-like components, we wouldn't get any kind of water resistance or anything like that, right?
No, yeah, that was a very
what? Whoa!
Did you actually know that this? Did you know that? Were you setting me up there, or did you not think that this had water resistance?
I was trying to set you up. I was giving you like an alley-oop off the backboard.
That was a good prop, but it was such good acting on your part. I couldn't actually tell if you didn't know or not. But it does. All the parts on their own have water resistance to 5 meters, so that's about 15 feet, which I guess is a little bit under what GoPro and DJI offer with about 30 feet. So. But really, for me, if they're going to cut corners someplace, this makes the most sense, because how many people are taking their action camera down to 30 feet?
I really don't know. I mean, I guess if you're snorkeling and you go snorkeling with a 360 camera, boom, suddenly you capture everything, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, if you're going to cut corners on one thing.
But you can still take it. I mean, if your scuba diving is really the only thing, and they do have a dive case for it if you need that.
Boom, there you go. So that even solves that problem. So
yeah, so this is really, I think, honestly, the action camera parts are cool. I think they have incredible stabilization technology at Insta360. But the thing that I'm really excited for is this 360 camera. There's a couple aspects of it. One, because it's their new 360 camera. Their old one, the Insta360 ONE X, kind of getting a little old. The processor is outdated. They can't do as cool things. So now with this one, they're able to implement some new technologies. It's hard to honestly describe half of them, so just go to their website, check out. They put a really slick video. Go to our website. Sorry.
Go to Gabe's website. He's going to have all of these products linked up, and you can find everything we talk about there. This is one to check out. Yeah,
they put a super slick video together that is hats off to whoever edited it. It's on the music, it's moving, it's exciting, and so the really two cool things about this product before we move on. Because we have tons
already
of other stuff
super cool, and we're like, it's deserving so much airtime.
How could this get cooler, Stetson?
We're floored. Insta360 has impressed us.
Yeah, well, okay. Number one cool thing, which is just a kind of mini cool thing, which I don't think a lot of people have seen because it's buried in the specs.
What is it?
That you can actually pair this with your AirPods.
What?
So you can record wireless audio.
Oh my God. Actually, I remember someone saying that. So you can pair it with Bluetooth microphones.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, granted, Bluetooth isn't the best for audio quality, but if it's versus, your action camera capturing you from 50 feet away while you're kayaking versus, having the AirPods right by your mouth, like hanging out of your ears that can easily record what you're saying, it's a huge night and day difference. So
this is actually, you could pair that with a proper lav mic. Like, you could just use Bluetooth audio. So it's right, like you have the source of the audio, and then you get actually good audio, and you can just sync them in post.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess it would pull a better audio. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, which is the bigger thing, and is why they threw that drone into the blender, is that they're actually selling a Mavic Pro and a Mavic 2 aerial kit that goes for $549. Comes with that dual lens system, and allows you to actually detach the lenses, place this on top of the drone, you place one lens, on the bottom you place the other lens, and then essentially what you're left with after you record your video or whatever is video footage that has no drone in it.
Oh my God, that is unbelievable.
It's game changing. Like
you have a flying 360 camera that captures everything perfectly and automatically takes out the drone.
And automatically stitches it together. I mean, I think Kodak had something for, I can't remember which drone they had it for, that you could put a bulky Kodak 180-degree camera on the top and on the bottom, and it would stitch it together in post with some like really cumbersome software. But this is this is really small, easily goes around the Mavic. You put them on top and bottom, record video. I guess the hard thing would be you just have to record video the whole time, or do take time-lapse photos because you can't control it while you're in the air. So we're still waiting for a drone manufacturer like DJI or Autel to, implement this in a drone with the 360 cameras. But until then, this is really cool, and probably one of the few things that we've seen come out at CES that I might actually order.
And you can order it today. I have heard they're still finalizing the firmware on it, so I don't know when exactly it's going to ship. Gabe, I know you mentioned pricing.
7 days is what we're hearing.
Okay, that's really soon.
For some of the models, 7 days for the 4K action cam and the bundle, like the twin bundle edition. I think the rest is about 2-3 weeks or so.
I know you mentioned pricing. Remind me what the pricing is and how this compares with GoPro, just for an entry getting into the action cam space.
So if you're going for an action camera, it's $100 less at $299, and that's also about $100 less than the DJI one. And it's very similar specs, literally almost identical.
Oh my God!
The only thing you're getting is just a different user experience. Then, as far as pricing on the 360 end, you can for $479, you can get that twin bundle, which is the 360 module and the 4K action camera module, which compares to the GoPro 360 Max at, the GoPro 360 Max is I think $500. So on both ends, they're coming in as the winner.
It's just the 360 camera with the GoPro too, whereas with the
it is a dual lens, so it's essentially, if you've seen it, the GoPro 360 Max looks like they just plopped another lens on the GoPro 8. Basically.
Yeah, but I'm saying you purchase the 360 unit separately, whereas with this, it's bundled together for I think it's a better deal. That's competitive pricing though.
No, it's definitely, they're going out and trying to claim some market space, market share, and it's going to pay off, and we're going to reward some consumers with some good products for decent prices.
I love it. We also had some more. I mean, that's a pretty professional looking action cam in my opinion. We had another pro camera come out for a lot of pro enthusiast users.
Okay, this is pro. Don't even say those two in the same sentence. This is pro on a different level. We mentioned it in the last episode. We mentioned it even before then, because many Canon fans have been waiting for probably a year, 2 years for this.
Actually, 4 years.
Well, okay, but you're not waiting since the last.
The moment I purchase a product, I'm waiting for the next one to come out. That's exactly what's happening here.
Okay, so maybe some people like you are, but this is the Canon 1DX Mark III. It is the new flagship Canon DSLR, and boy is it packing, but boy is it also expensive at $6,500.
Yeah, I mean, this is really for professional filmmakers, professional photographers. This camera, it's expensive, but it also delivers a really big punch. So you're looking at recording, I think it's 5.5K internal.
So it does 5.5K internal RAW, which is just that's unmatched right now in the DSLR space. It does 4K 60 internal at 10-bit 422. And by the way, the RAW is 12-bit. So yeah, incredible. And it can also, I've read, it can record the 4K 60 to 1, I'm pretty sure, and the 5.5K RAW, or maybe 4K 30, I don't know. It can record in two different formats because it has two different card slots.
Right. And actually, the card slots are important. So they switched from CFast to, what are these, mini CFast? They're a new type of card reader, but the read and write speeds are so fast, there's basically unlimited buffer. That means you can hold the shutter down until your cards are full, and the camera will continue capturing images. You're looking at 16.
Yeah, it has 1,000 shot buffer when shooting RAW plus JPEG.
That's nuts.
To give you an example.
That's nuts.
And that's 20 FPS.
20, so 16 FPS in regular mode, I
Yep.
guess. And then if you go into live view, which is when the mirror flips up and you see it on the back, that's when you hit that 20
and
FPS.
this is a, even though it's a professional camera, the only thing that probably seems honestly a little low is the megapixels. It's 20.1 megapixels. But remember, this is intended for like photojournalists and sports photographers, people like that. And also, it is really their flagship video DSLR. So you don't really need super high resolution for that. You just need the, enough to get 5.5K.
It's built like a tank. It's got uncropped 4K video, and it's going to work with all of the lenses that the pros already have. If you're
and the big thing is it has the dual pixel CMOS autofocus.
Yep, and way more autofocus points this time around, which is
525 selectable areas, which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. If you're a pro, like, this is a dream come true. This camera looks phenomenal.
Yeah. So definitely go check that out. We will see a response from Nikon with their D6, probably coming, I'd imagine February or maybe by NAB. But yeah, definitely before the summer, because we're sounding like we're beating a dead horse here, but the flagship cameras from all these companies are going to be out before summer because that's when the Summer Olympics are. And that's kind of how they organize their release schedule with their flagship cameras.
Are there any other cameras we want to talk about?
Well, that's what I was actually going to say is, Nikon, we're going to see their new flagship model come out in a month or two. But until then, we actually did get kind of their mid to like pro level DSLR from them, which is the Nikon D780 D780, sorry.
Yeah, these names and numbers, like, oh man, I want a camera to come out that's just called like Stan. You know?
Well, just let people figure out on their own what version this is of that camera. Don't add all the model numbers. But anyways, this is the replacement for the D750, and it's coming in at, I think, $2,300, which definitely places it, kind of in between, your entry level and your super pro cameras, right? Right. I think that's about what the A7 III is about in that range, right?
Yeah, it's been on sale for a little bit, but it's around that $2,000 mark, so right in there. They're in the same. They're playing the same game.
Yeah. So, but this is really what they're calling a new kind of DSLR. And basically, they're taking their super popular mirrorless cameras, the Z6 and the Z7, and taking a lot of that tech and jamming it into this camera so that you can get a lot of the benefits of size and the performance while still getting the DSLR like autofocus and the body.
I think 2020 is shaping up to be a great year for cameras. Is there anything else we should know about?
Just spec-wise, I just want to give you the specs on this. 24.5 megapixel sensor that's backside illuminated, so that's directly basically taken from the mirrorless cameras. It's going to have 4K. I forget what the frame rate, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as the Z6 and Z7, which is the 4K 60 internal. So yeah, this is really a great camera if you have the 750, the D750 to upgrade to, or if you have maybe a lower level Nikon, this is something you might look to upgrade to as well if you want to stick with the DSLR versus possibly a mirrorless camera. Because some people like DSLRs better. It's
true. I was actually watching one reviewer mention that using a mirrorless system, using a DSLR reduces eye strain when you're looking through the viewfinder because you're not looking at a monitor.
The screen, it's straight through.
Optical. Right. And it's potentially easier to have one eye looking through the viewfinder to see the action and the framing of the shot, with your other eye open to see, get a peripheral view of what's happening around in case there's another moment that you want to whip to and try and capture that.
Or so you don't get hit by something, like if you're capturing
another great point. But usually they have like photography areas where all the photographers are.
I'm sorry. When you're photographing like sports games on the side and stuff, you got to be careful.
You could get elbowed. Someone else is coming in.
Well, not
They're
elbowed. You can
shot.
get the football players coming right at you off the side, off the field at full speed.
Right.
And that won't feel good. But yeah, so that was pretty much it for cameras. Let's move on to smart homes. Actually,
okay.
Smart home technology. There was a lot of. I wouldn't actually say that there was a lot of products released. You got some Philips Hue stuff. You got a lot of security cameras. You actually got one of the first security cameras that integrates with Apple's HomeKit so that, it can be processed by the HomePod and Apple TV and such and uploaded to iCloud and stored for you. But you also got a lot of companies kind of saying, this is what we envision the future. And I think even Samsung had a kitchen that was like had robotic cooks and was automatically ordering you stuff into your fridge and then cooking it for like it was like, gee, Samsung, this is like 10 years out. I know you're trying to like predict the future, but you're going a little far out here.
Yeah, Samsung was basically like trying to pitch some kind of future reality that doesn't even exist and probably won't exist, and is honestly going to be more of a headache than it's actually worth to set it up, to clean everything, to get it all configured. But they also had some interesting products as well, besides this potentially cool but implausible home kitchen. So what did Samsung come rolling out with on stage, Gabe?
There, that was very good. They had the Samsung Ballie, which now people know why that was such a good one there. They're rolling out.
Ballie?
Oh wait, Samsung Ballie. Yeah, I did actually. That is what it's called, and what it is. Stetson, you're good at describing what things are and what they look like. So take this one, William.
Okay, sure. So basically, here's what you're gonna do, audience. You're gonna take a tennis ball. You're gonna scale it up a little bit. It's a little bigger than a tennis ball, and it's a robot that can wheel itself around. So naturally, it's got a little camera on it, and I want to say it like mimics the behavior of a very obedient dog.
Well, so kind of like BB-8.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Star
great.
Wars.
BB-8. Yeah. It like follows you around. It's got a camera on it so it can detect you. Samsung mentioned that it will make sure you're on time for meetings, control your smart home, and get you to work out when you'd rather be watching TV on the couch. I thought this was one of the weirdest products I think I've ever seen. And CES has a lot of weird products.
When they said it'd get you to work out when you'd rather be sitting on the couch or whatever,
yeah,
that sounded very threatening. Like what weapons did they pack in there? Like
exactly.
A taser? Like,
and on top of that, Samsung also makes TVs. So like they basically came from wanting you to sit on the couch and basically use your TV.
They want you to have the TV.
Just have the TV.
Yeah.
And then
you have to have a good balance in your life so you can use all of the suite of Samsung products.
All of the Samsung products. They make washers and dryers too, by the way, for anyone who didn't know that.
They make everything pretty much.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
It's out of control. They actually did announce that they're going to be making a new, like, basically like the Google Home Mini or the Amazon Echo.
I saw that. And that's actually a good point because that means the Bixby smart speaker they announced, I think it was last year along the Galaxy S10. I think it was on that Samsung Unpacked event. That's just gone. Like that disappeared into the void.
Yeah, they scrapped that pretty quick, but that's what you get with technology. Move on quickly, right?
I think that's
the Samsung Ballie looks really cool. I don't know if we'll ever actually see this.
You think it looks cool?
I'm sorry. It's very, there's probably not really any use for it functionally, and it's probably going to be more of a hassle to get working and stuff, but gosh, I really want one. As long as they're not like upwards of $400, I'm going to be very tempted to get one.
That is interesting. What Gabe, I'm just curious, what tempts you to get this?
I don't know. It just feels like it's just something, a conversation piece, right?
You just like
something,
open the door, greet your guests.
Something to torture my cats with too.
The ball just like rolls up behind you. Oh yeah, this is my new Ballie.
Yeah, what about dogs grabbing it? They didn't mention that.
Oh, that could be a problem. Like, new chew toy. Oh, there goes your $400 ball reminding you to be on time for meetings.
Yeah, right. It's like this. Oh, I don't know. We'll see if we actually see this come to life. But I feel like this was definitely because this came out on stage when they were doing their whole presentation thing. So I feel like this was more of a, let's get some attention, let's get some press, and not really something that we might see in the next year or two.
I don't know. They seemed almost too excited about it for them to not release it. So,
well, we did get another little robot too.
We did.
You hear about this?
What was this robot, Gabe?
This was by Charmin.
Ooh, the Charmin robot. Tell me more.
Yeah, Charmin. You do know what Charmin makes, right?
I have absolutely no idea. What does Charmin make?
They make toilet paper.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Wait.
They make toilet paper.
So they made a robot?
They made a robot that will go and get you toilet paper. Because you've been there probably a couple times. I've been there too. You go, all right, let me just, no, there is no toilet paper. Oh, I forgot to bring it up from XYZ, and now I got to figure something out. All right, what's nearby that I can use? Okay, there's a brush. Nope, probably can't use that. Oh, wait, what's this? It's my handy little Charmin robot that can go get it for me. Yeah, this this is something they didn't really say how it goes and gets it, how it navigates to go find it.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems I see with this. Like, how does it get out of the bathroom?
Well, the thing that I think would be cool or smart or how it would work was you just set this up someplace in your house, like maybe where you store your toilet paper.
Yeah.
And then it's always there for if you need it, you can, because people always have their phones on them. Just, you can grab your phone, click
Just
come to me, and
summon.
it will come to you with that toilet paper. Yeah.
Can it get upstairs? Do I need one for every floor of my house?
Just chucks it, smashes it through the window,
And
like gets it to you like any way possible, but you will get that toilet paper.
How is it different from just like having an extra roll like next to the toilet?
I'm not the person to ask these questions to.
Oh
Definitely,
my gosh.
This definitely even more than the Ballie. This seems like something we'll probably never see, but was a smart move by Charmin to steal headlines. Like, we're actually talking about a toilet paper company on the podcast now.
I mean, if this is what smart home means for the future,
In the future, yeah, this is the future.
I don't know if I want it. I mean, I'm gonna have my
like,
Charmin
rewind.
I'm gonna have my Charmin toilet paper robot colliding with my Samsung Ballie. They're gonna get in a
They're
fight.
fighting.
There's gonna be quarrels.
No,
my dog's
separate
gonna be
you
unhappy.
two different rooms.
And then the laundry folding machine could get unhappy, and we don't want to upset that because that one's expensive.
Yeah, that'll just smash these two together or something.
Oh my God. I think we should move on to more normal products that are actually coming out, such as TVs.
That seems like a good relief.
Yeah. All right. Gabe, did you have any comments for TVs? I thought they were kind of interesting this year.
The big thing I thought with TVs was obviously 8K, we said that. But I was really, one thing we saw was the funniest thing I thought was the Samsung SERO, I think is how you're pronouncing this.
Yeah.
Right?
That was really interesting. What's the deal with that?
This is a TV it's a TV that's on basically a motorized stand. So if you pair your smartphone with it, either your Samsung or your Apple or whatever device, and you're casting the screen or mirroring it, if you want to view some content that's vertical, you can either click the remote if you're using an Apple device, or on a Samsung device, just literally rotate your phone, and the TV will rotate from horizontal, that aspect ratio to vertical.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of the Facebook portal. As much as I hate to bring that
actually
product
does,
up, right?
Yeah.
It's just like basically a bigger monitor, because I think it's smaller, right? It's like in that 40-inch range.
It's not a huge, it's like in the 40-inch range.
Maybe 42, and it just sits on a stand and it can rotate horizontal and vertical. Do you like this idea?
Well, I don't know about you, but I've personally always wanted to just watch my TikToks and Snapchats and Instagram stories on a TV.
This is the TikTok dream. This is the Snapchat dream. Like,
no, this is the most ridiculous thing. Why? The only reason you're doing that stuff is because it's on your phone. Like, that's where you're watching it. I would never want to watch Snapchats or TikToks or anything on a vertical screen.
Yeah, well,
for any extended period of time.
Let me just put this private content on this public screen in the home. I don't know. It's weird.
No, that's a weird one. Also, it doesn't even have a wall mount capability, so you have to have it on the stand. They don't have anything that can be on the wall. They can turn it.
Anyway, I tried to make this come back to more normal products. But
sorry, I took us right off the deep end. On that.
Right off the deep end. TVs have gotten weird too, everybody. The highlights for me, the LG rollable TV. Okay,
there we go.
This is
Glad
a TV
you picked up on that.
That basically it rolls. So there's a base, and then the TV will kind of come up out of the base and roll up and be a TV, and then it'll roll back down. And
it's utilizing their flexible OLED display technology.
That is correct. And we saw this last year, never came out. It's back this year. It's actually going to come out this time, says LG.
They say it's going to come out.
They say it's going to come out. Do
we have a release date? I don't think so.
We, of course, do not. But, I mean, when it does come out, eventually, even if it's in 5 years, LG can say they were right, and it did come out, which,
Well, okay. Congrats to you, LG.
The other big thing, all right, so TVs this year, and this happens every year at CES, they get packed with the latest gen TV processors. LG has what they call the Alpha 9 Gen 3 AI processor. Look at them throwing in buzzwords in their processor name. And this does all kinds of garbage stuff to your image, right? So it enhances it. I mean, like, what is that even? It's an image. Like, can't it just display it? what they showed on stage was it detecting humans and faces and then making pretty serious adjustments to those faces in the shows. Like, in my opinion, with these processors, you're no longer watching TV. You're watching like an AI created film. It's
an AI nightmare. Like, these are oftentimes like most things you're seeing on TV, maybe besides like live sports and like talk shows and stuff like that, is stuff that's countless hours of production value, you know, lighting, they're going, thoughts are behind everything, set design. And then your AI TV is just like, hold on a second. Let's change the color of his jacket a little bit. I didn't like that. And oh, hold on. Let's chop off the top of that hair. You know, it's, yeah, I don't like that.
I do not like that either. And this is, I want to say, pretty consistent across TV manufacturers. Like, for whatever reason, they think it's a good idea to modify the image instead of just displaying the image as it was intended. Until today, an LG announced Filmmaker Mode, and this is a special mode designed to display your movie exactly as the director intended it. That's what I'm excited about.
That's all we got to say about that. That's a very good thing. I'm glad they're finally doing this. It's the backlash to over, correction, though we did still see some upscaling stuff because they're, with 8K TVs, they're still having to deal with AI upscaling because there's not a lot of 8K content.
I'm okay with that. They can upscale it, whatever, but to modify faces and change colors and do all kinds of manipulation, I think that's over the top. So I'm actually surprisingly most excited about this simple filmmaker mode.
I'm actually probably the thing I would be most excited about is the AirPlay coming to all TVs basically.
Yeah, that's going to be great for Apple users as well.
Yeah, that was pretty much it for TVs. We did kind of tangentially related. The PS5. We got the Xbox Series X. Is that what the next one's called? That we got to look at that back in December. So everyone was expecting some big reveal.
Yeah, so
from Sony, because the Xbox we actually saw some images of it.
And yes,
and so Sony came out on stage during their presentation. Everyone was hyped. And everyone was ready.
They dove in deep with all the details and specs of the PS5, right?
Wait, did you? No, I don't think so, Stetson. I think this was a dream you had because all we got from them was the PS5 logo.
The logo? That's it? That's all they could do? That's all they could muster up the strength to do? The logo?
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, I don't know what they were expecting. Were they expecting people to just like bow down to them? Oh my gosh, this is the best logo ever.
Yeah, well, maybe it was cool. Maybe I don't want to judge them prematurely. Maybe it was cool.
I mean, so it's not a bad logo.
It's a cool new logo, right? Like it's different. It's something.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's basically the same. Okay,
it's the same.
It's slightly different, basically the same. But either way,
it's
even if this was a groundbreaking logo, it's just it's the wrong place and time. Like you're going on stage making this huge presentation and being like, here's a logo. No, just that's something you roll out casually on the side a week later or something. But
they also had a car out on stage instead of their PS5.
Maybe that was actually, they're wondering why people are getting mad, but maybe that was actually what the PS5 is going to look like.
Yeah, okay, wait, I just want to quickly mention this. So this is called the Vision S. It's an electric vehicle prototype. And what I thought was interesting is Sony didn't make this to say that they're making electric cars. They made this to show to other car manufacturers what Sony tech can look like inside the vehicle.
Exactly, like their displays, their audio, processing, all that stuff.
And that's something
and the self-driving capabilities too with the camera. Right?
Yeah. That's something I forget. Like CES is also kind of a B2B market where businesses are trying to market their products to other businesses. And so I think to some extent, that's kind of why we see these concepts, and it can potentially form good business partnerships going forward.
Yeah, partnerships were all the rage at this conference. Panasonic, brought out Michael Phelps on stage for him to talk about. I'm not really sure what it was. It was some like charity initiative he's doing to help like something. I don't know. I tuned that out. There was also they brought out on stage, who was it? It was the founder of Elemental AI or Element AI, which is they do this AI that basically has been able to play Dota 2, which is this really complicated video game. And they brought him out, it was like, who's who with like, can we bring out the next big guest star or the next big celebrity partnership or whatever and impress all of our audience. But yeah, so, CES does a lot of show. That's why it's called Consumer Electronics Show. But there is also some consumer electronics trickling out there as well. So let's move on to the laptop space because we've been going for a while now.
Yeah, this was really cool. 2 concepts from Dell were announced at CES.
Okay, so here's some more show.
The more show, we had Concept Ori and Concept Duet. And these were both fascinating devices. Concept Ori kind of sounds like origami, and I think that's a pretty accurate description of it. It is a laptop concept with a 13-inch foldable screen, and it folds down to the size of a hardcover book. And what's interesting about this is it's just got that one screen. So when you fold it up and it is book-sized, you can't actually use it, which is different from the Galaxy Fold. And yeah.
Can you fold it the other way or no? Is this
No.
was the one screen?
No,
one?
this is the one screen. It's basically a book. And it's kind of like, It's like a folding tablet. And we had mentioned this, like you get extra portability, I think, from folding it. Like maybe that's more convenient or something. And you can kind of hold it like a book, I guess.
Yeah. But this was definitely their more far out concept. The other one seemed more doable, I think.
Yeah, and that's doable. It's actually called the Concept Duet, and this is legit. So it's a normal laptop, and it's got a screen where the keyboard is. And this is very similar to the Microsoft Surface Neo. The screens can be used side by side or as a single screen. And like the Surface Neo, it has a keyboard accessory that you can place on top of the screen and then use the exposed area of the secondary screen as a trackpad. So this actually seems real. It seems good. It is more likely to come out sooner. Gabe, what are your thoughts on these products? I mean, are foldable...
I think the Duet is the right take. Like you said, it's kind of like the Microsoft Neo, and we both agreed that was kind of getting on the right track a bit with these foldable devices. You can also, with the Duet, I know, fold it all the way open completely and use just one screen like a tablet. So if you want something a little more smaller, then you can use both. Yeah, it just seems like it's very customizable to your specific needs. And so, you can buy it and figure out uses for it as you use it, kind of.
I think we really need one of these products to be finished, come to market, and then we'll figure out either how to use it or maybe where it's good, how it can be used, if it's good or if it's just a gimmick.
That's often the way it goes with these. Companies sometimes get too far out with like, oh, this is how they'll use it. This is how they'll use it. And then they give it to the hands of consumers and, they actually, oh, this is actually how they're going to use it. So let's make it more for that.
Sure.
But yeah, those are really cool things out in the future. Do we actually see any laptops that were going to be out like tomorrow or,
we saw a
sometime this year?
Bountiful display of laptops from all kinds of companies. The one I thought was interesting was actually the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook. This is a premium Chromebook device from Samsung. It's got a really beautiful design. It kind of looks like a MacBook Air-esque. It's thin, it's light, and it is starting at $1,000, so kind of similarly priced.
Pretty steep for a Chromebook.
It's steep, but it's packing premium specs and that premium design, so... I think...
But Chromebooks, you still can't run native applications on?
I think Dieter from The Verge said it best. Chromebooks do 90% of what 90... for 90% of people, they do 90% of what they need to do 90% of the time. So it's like almost but not perfect. If you're going to get a Chromebook, this one is definitely going to be a really nice piece of hardware, but it's also a Chromebook running Chrome OS. So that 10%... that you can't do what you need to do, that 10% of the time, you might just want to get a laptop.
We're definitely
instead.
getting more capabilities online and in cloud, like whether it's video editing even now in the cloud or, Photoshop and stuff that are online applications potentially. So it's definitely getting closer to a possibility where you could pick up a Chromebook and be able to do 100% of what you do 100% of the time. But I don't think this is quite there yet.
That actually relates to what my predictions were for the future when we were talking about that. I think we're going to have servers everywhere, and everything's going to be internet-based. So you just access a remote desktop. And
I remember you saying this. Yeah, I do.
Right?
Think this is probably very true. As the transfers, internet speed gets faster and more instantaneous. Yeah, that's why not, let Google take care of the processing, or Microsoft, and I'll just handle the display and that stuff.
Right. And I think the last thing I want to mention for the laptop category is AMD introduced their Ryzen 4000 series of processors for mobile and desktop. There's so much to cover here. Honestly, if you're interested in either laptop gaming, laptop performance, or PC gaming, check out Gabe's blog post. He's going to link to this. AMD is packing
I'll probably drop in The Verge's 10-minute supercut of this presentation.
They're packing some serious firepower. Intel is just getting blown out of the water. They're gone. They're kind of wiped off the industry. Everyone is looking at AMD right now.
AMD has been for a while. They were kind of like the second fiddle.
Yeah, I would say they've been the underdogs.
If you got an AMD laptop, or like a laptop that had an AMD processor, you'd be like, I guess, yeah, or whatever. This isn't as good as an Intel, obviously, but that's why I paid a cheaper price. Now they're getting into the point where it's serious competition and almost even better in some areas.
They showcased one of their newest chips, and I think it was a 64-core desktop class processor, and it's retailing for only $4,000, and it outperformed a $20,000 desktop class CPU from Intel. So, yeah, AMD's bringing the heat. Keep it locked to.
Well, you'll definitely have to see those is once this gets out, and we get some, Geekbench tests and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, but check out the post for more details. There's tons of different stuff and varieties of chips. But yeah,
I'm not going to put all that in the post, but
just link to the AMD website, and AMD's marketing will tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just had two more things that didn't fit in any category sets in. That I doubt you've seen.
Hit me. What have you got?
All right. First one I got is a really general thing. You know what Bluetooth low energy is?
Well, I know what Bluetooth is. It connects devices. So I'm guessing Bluetooth low energy is a way of maintaining that connection with low battery impact.
Exactly. Yeah. It's basically what we've seen probably in the past, I want to say 2 to 3 years, maybe even 4 years, with, so many devices now use Bluetooth to either connect or initiate a connection. Like a lot of cameras have Wi-Fi, but they use Bluetooth like on the GoPro to, all right, let me turn on the GoPro, let me get the connection, let me turn on the Wi-Fi, let me get the connected, boom, initiate Wi-Fi connection, all right, and we're good. So BLE is what they call it for short. It's been really awesome in that sense, and it's enabled a lot of really useful features that we've seen in phones controlling different Bluetooth devices. Now we have a new protocol coming out, Bluetooth Low Energy Audio.
Whoa. Okay, so it sounds like it's going to be Bluetooth Low Energy, but for audio transmission. Is that right?
Yeah, you have figured that out exactly.
Well, the name was pretty much a dead giveaway.
Yeah, I know. This is actually one category where they're naming things right and just very simply what they are. And that's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's a low energy audio transmission protocol that they had to basically invent a new compression algorithm for the audio so that they could compress it, enough so it wouldn't take a lot of processing power, but also so it wouldn't sound like complete garbage when you're listening to it.
A delicate balance. We saw this, I think, recently with HEIF.
Yeah, for images.
For
exactly,
images,
yeah.
And now it's kind of showing its face in this Bluetooth low energy audio as well. That's really cool to hear.
It's very good to hear. Exactly. It's exciting for especially for AirPods and wireless earbuds, as well as just generally wireless headphones. But the wireless earbuds are usually a lot smaller, have a lot smaller battery, and are challenged for battery life. And they're trying to jam in pro features like noise canceling and stuff. So being able to reduce how much energy the Bluetooth takes up, that could be game changing for battery life.
Especially as these earbuds age, battery life decreases, and sometimes it
drops off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone. Like you could use your AirPods comfortably for a couple hours, and now you're just throwing in the charger left, right, center. You can't get a charge.
Don't remind me what's going to happen in a year.
This will make a difference.
We'll see this rolling out to devices starting probably, spring, summer, and eventually maybe all devices by the end of the year might start having it, but it really won't be standard till, probably a year or two. So yeah, that's the first thing that's very exciting. Second thing, honestly, this was almost my most exciting, most surprised thing I saw and I'm glad I saved this for last. But it's Roland. Have you ever even heard of this company?
I have not. I had a friend named Roland once. So did he start
Roland,
a company?
Yeah, maybe he did.
Wow.
I don't know,
okay, tell me more.
But Roland, it's Roland. They're a company that's been around for a good time, actually, making audio gear from mics to audio recorders to I think even some musical like instrument type stuff. So they're very well versed in audio. And what they announced was something they're calling Go Livecast. Oh, and it's a live streaming audio and video studio for smartphones and tablets.
So it's a studio for live streaming audio. How would it be used? What's the
live
use
streaming
case?
video and audio from your smartphone? So basically what it is you download the app and it's this little desktop, kind of like, a Magic Trackpad.
Sure.
But like a little tilted up a little more, so there's a connection for an XLR plugin on the back so you can connect a mic. And essentially you download the app to your phone, and this device lets you switch between your smartphone's front or rear camera. You can even add a second smartphone, so you can switch between smartphone cameras over Wi-Fi. Like, it's ridiculous. You can mute the cameras, turn up the gain, do split screen mode. You can switch mics. Like, I don't know. This seems incredibly well timed. We'll have to see how it actually works. But for $250, this seems like, a Twitch streamer's dream.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how it was used, and that sounds incredible for either YouTube live streaming, Twitch live streaming, any kind of live streaming. You're basically using your phone, which is great. It already records great.
Phones are better cameras than most cameras,
Yeah, and especially for streaming, like, they're basically optimized for that to some degree. Like,
exactly.
No one's going to notice the quality. This is genuinely useful and coming in at a great price, I want to say.
Yeah, and so this is something that, like I said, though, it's going to depend how well they make the app, how well the whole thing works together, but keep an eye out for this, because this could be something that kind of creates a whole new category of products. And, we see some releases from some bigger names trying to jump into this space as well. And that's when it gets exciting.
Yeah, and that's also a little bit of a risk, right? This could be a Gen 1 product, and then the Gen 2 is just so much better. So I guess you could jump in and embrace it or potentially hold off. But either way, this product and many more that we saw at CES are they're exciting, and they're products I'm looking forward to seeing that hopefully come out. I know some of them are, but some of them were more concepts. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Is that it? That's everything?
That's it for me. I mean, we'll probably get a couple more products released tomorrow, but like I said, I'll try to include anything else that we really like in the blog post as well, in the order, so you can jump around, find the stuff that we mentioned. Because honestly, I've forgotten the first thing that we talked about on this episode. I'm glad we have a document typed up of all the things we talked about, because yeah, it was a lot at CES. And, I'm glad it only happens once a year, because I could not take this much news and new devices coming out all at once.
It's pretty great. So yeah, check out Gabe's site. It will be linked in the show notes. Also follow us at Pinch to Zoom Pod on Twitter, at Pinch to Zoom Podcast on Instagram, and you can email us at pinchtozoompodcast@gmail.com. I'm Stetson.
I'm Gabe.
And we look forward to talking to you in our next episode. I noticed you were adjusting some settings. I want to make sure you're situated properly over there before beginning this episode.
Make sure audio for you is set right.
I think it should be good.
Are you talking now? Good, I can't hear you.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Okay, it's set right.
Okay. That should be the intro. This should be the outro. Yeah. We have golden content here already.
I've never used any of the stuff that came before it for the outro, though.